changing rapidly in the financial aid field. With the CARES Act, there's interpretations. The Department of Ed will get information and then it'll get updated, it'll get reinterpreted. So things that we may have told you a week ago could be different now. But at the time we told you, it was the relevant information. So please don't hold that against us. We try to get the information out as we know it. For instance, one thing is that 2 or 3 weeks ago, we sent out through the President's Update information on summer savings. On campus, they were very limited jobs, very limited hours. Well, after that, they opened it up, more students could work more and they could get more hours in. So that may have an impact on summer savings for the fall. If you have a specific question, be sure to email us about that summer savings if you're on campus, and we'll get the information out to you. Remember that if classes are dropped in the fall below full time, it could have a financial aid impact, could impact your awards. There could be a reduction in your grant aid. So you need to keep it at 3 credits. If you go below that, there could be a reduction of grant aid. So please keep that in mind. Oh, okay. We're out to questions now, and we'll bring up our email address there. So if you have a question, please email us later if you want, but tonight you can use the question and answer at the bottom of your screen.
All right, so we do have a couple of questions that have rolled in here already. First question is about money. When would off-campus students get their refund?
Typically, you have to attend class first, and then we would do the refund. So, well, we wouldn't do it. Student Accounts actually releases those monies that's on your account. You have to attend class for 1 day, and then based on their schedule to release credit balances, it would be no more than a week after classes start. Could be a few days earlier, but if you plan on a week after classes start, you should be in good shape. Remember, to start classes, you're supposed to have confirmed your classes, your labor, financial aid, everything. And you can't confirm unless you've also paid your summer bill. So, but confirmation has to be completed and attending classes before those credit balances could be issued to you.
All right, next question. Does the summer savings apply to students who are not on campus and who are not taking summer classes?
With the environment, the way it is, the job market, we are not expecting some students who are not working on campus to have a summer savings. If you do, then you are ahead of the game, and congratulations. You were able to find a job. But no, we will not be expecting that this year, and that is for this year only. That does not set a precedence for future years. It is this year only for this upcoming 2021 academic year.
Since the semester is being split into 2 classes or 2 segments, do we still have to pay the full amount for the full semester?
Yes, you will be charged for the full semester. We are doing parts, yes, but it's in the realm of the fall term. So aid and charges will be charged at the beginning of the term, and aid will be released at the beginning of the term. If you decide not to take courses or you go below half-time in the second part of fall term, that could be an aid adjustment. So please keep that in mind.
Oh, we got a question for a remnant of summer. See if you all want to tackle that. Is financial aid for the summer term finalized? My account has been fluctuating, and while it is now stable, when do refunds come in?
Stephanie, would you like to take that?
Sure. Refunds are scheduled to go out hopefully Friday. Well, actually over the weekend, Saturday or Monday, depending on your direct deposit. Most of summer aid is finalized. We're still working through students who are adding or dropping courses, as that does have an impact on your eligibility. But we are hoping here to wrap things up in the next week or so. If you still have a large balance out there, feel free to reach out to the finaid at berea.edu email, or contact me directly at blaney@berea.edu, and we can try to get that situated for you.
All right. If some students are allowed back on campus this fall and others have to stay home and do online classes, will students who are doing online classes get a refund for housing and meals like we would if we were on campus?
That is the process. We don't know how much, since people are living at home, that will be. But yes, if your grants exceed your charges, and on campus, if you're at home, the only charges you would have, in addition to any course fee that there might be, like a lab fee or something of that sort, there are mandatory college fees that everyone pays at the beginning of each term. So once your account is cleared, if you've charged books, if you have those fees, once those are paid, then any grant balance remaining would come to you, either direct deposit or a paper check, depending on how you've signed up for your payroll check to get to you.
All right, just want to remind everybody, it looks like a couple of folks joined the webinar a little bit late, but we are in our question and answer period. And so you have a question and answer Q&A box that you can feel free to type your questions in that box, and we will answer your questions here live. If when the semester being a little short, with the semester being a little shorter now, will it be correspondingly cheaper?
Yes, if the term is going to be 2 weeks shorter than our normal term, which means 2 weeks less of housing and meals. But your corresponding grant aid would decrease also.
Can we add in there that EFC, your EFC students will still be responsible for that. It's not going to get cheaper by decreasing whatever you actually owe for your contribution, depending on what FAFSA has given you that value to be. So be mindful of that, as that will still be due for the fall and for the spring.
Very good point. Thank you, Stephanie.
Also, could you speak a little bit about the refund? Sometimes I think we hear that if the term is going to be shorter, then I shouldn't have to pay as much, and maybe I should get a bigger refund. So, could you address that a little bit?
Stephanie, do you want that, or do you want me to?
Well, I think I can reiterate what you said a couple minutes ago, that if the semester costs less, then that means the amount of grant aid we can give you is also going to be less. We can't award you more aid than you're actually eligible for, and what your actual need is based on your educational expenses on campus. So we have to stay in line with what the budget for the academic year is. And so, to answer the question, no, that does not mean you're going to get more grant aid. It just means we will still meet your expense, or we will give you as much grant aid as your budget allows. You want to add something else?
How will my term bill be calculated? Usually my term bill is about what my expected family contribution is, with a little bit more. Is that going to be the same for this upcoming term and or spring term?
If you are on campus and working, yes, it would be the same, about the same. If you're at home and you're not working, whether it's remotely, not working through the labor program, some students may be able to work remotely depending on what their position is. But so if you're not working in the labor program, you would not be getting labor earnings. And we may have to give you some extra grant money because you're not able to work in the program.
Are we supposed to go through a confirmation process?
Yes, there will be. We don't know what that looks like as of yet, but there would be a confirmation process because we have to know you're registered, you've taken care of all the work that needs to be done for you to be a student.
Are we supposed to go through another part of that? Are we supposed to go through a confirmation process for summer classes? I'm not sure I understand the gist of that question. Summer
Summer
classes are
classes,
underway.
yes, yeah.
I think professors are recording, well, they're definitely recording attendance, so you want to be sure you show up, you're active in your course, but however that's being taken, so that they can record that you're actually here. We want to know that you're taking a course.
If my EFC is about $200 for fall semester, will that decrease based on the way the new terms are going to be laid out?
EFC will remain the same for the academic year. In the example, the $200 EFC, that would be, fall and spring. It's not just for the fall term. If you have particular questions about your award letter, we would be more than glad to answer those specifically to your situation. But award letters are going to be updated. You will receive a new one. That probably will not happen until later in the summer, as we have to rework the budgets and repackage students' aid, and hopefully get that out, like I said, at the end of summer. But we will, as soon as we're able to get that information to you all, we will.
I got my financial aid award letter for completing the FAFSA, or excuse me, prior to completing FAFSA verification. Will having done verification affect my EFC? Do I need a new financial aid award letter for the upcoming year?
Completing verification can impact your EFC, just kind of dependent upon what changes are being made or what information is being corrected. It can increase, it can decrease, it can stay the same, just like I said, depending on what we are verifying, is how that directly impacts your EFC. Award letters will be sent out for all students for the 2021 year at the end of summer, as your aid will look different and you may see a little bit more grant aid than you would have with your initial award letter.
In summer award letters, what does it mean if there is a negative number in the total due, but it says 0 in total earnings?
If there is a negative in on your summer award letter now, just keep in mind that those letters are estimates based on when I package the aid. So if you dropped the course today, but you got the letter 3 days ago, that aid may not be the same. So I want to point that out because there are questions about the summer award letter saying one thing and then your student account saying something different. On our summer award letter, those are estimates as best we can. The negative means that it's a credit refund. You will be getting that via direct deposit. I would look at your student account to see if that number is actually accurate. And if you have questions, please let us know about that. For the question about total earnings, that is really intended for students who are here on campus working. We give them an estimate of what they're expected to earn. Students who are completely off campus back home, they will see a zero for total earnings because you're not actually working in the labor program. I think you're on mute, Teresa.
I'm sorry?
I think Teresa was trying to say something and she's
Oh.
Sorry.
Why is she muted? Let me see.
I'm not sure.
She is unmuted here, so I'm not sure if she's having technical difficulties there.
You may have to join in again.
So a clarifying question, dropping a summer course could have a large impact to financial aid. Who should we talk to if unfortunate circumstances have come our way and we are struggling to keep up with our summer class?
I would encourage you to speak to Scott Steele about any complications you're having with your course. It will impact your financial aid, but that we could talk more about that, you know, once you decide if you're going to actually drop the course or not.
How much do students who stay on campus have to save up for the fall?
As much as you possibly can. There's no set amount right now. Usually what happens is that we kind of go off of a scale based on what you actually earned. We have a formula to kind of help us determine what we would expect you to have saved. On the safe side, we always want to save $1,000. That'll help with your, you know, with fall and spring, and books and supplies, things of that nature. So as much as you're possibly able to for the summer. Be sure to pay off your summer bill before you start saving, because that summer bill has to be cleared before you can confirm for fall.
Are students that are planning to work on campus this summer getting paid like we did when we left? Not sure I understand the gist of that.
Same here.
Students that are working on campus this summer getting paid like when we left. I think they're talking about maybe the transportation or COVID funds, but working on campus is totally separate.
Right. If they're thinking about, I don't know if they're maybe confusing the payments they were getting at the end of the term, of the spring term, March and April, part of May, they received labor earnings. That's separate from summer. Summer wages is a fixed amount that you would only get paid for that summer wage if you were actively working in the labor program. Now the fall, that's another, we're not sure about fall. I don't know if maybe they are confused.
I think they're wanting, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think they're wanting to know they were getting $875. We moved that up and paid students during the academic year the $875, which is the summer rate. We just started it early. So students working on campus this summer, they are making $875. I'm hoping that's the way I had thought the question was.
Okay. Thank you.
So we do have that question and another question about labor. So what I think we might do is we can ask Brittany Ash, who is on the line with us, to say a few words about the upcoming labor for fall particularly. Is there going to be, in what we know at this point, as Teresa said, the landscape is changing. And so what we know at this point about fall labor and what those rates will be.
Absolutely, I would be happy to. So in a nutshell, what we know about fall is what you guys know about fall. what you've heard from the president is kind of what we know. We're making plans for all three options that the president laid out in one of his daily debriefs. So we hope we can get everyone back here, but we don't know what that looks like yet. So as soon as we know what fall looks like, we can communicate further about what fall will look like. So right now, some students can work remotely if they have projects they can work on. Some students are actively working physically on campus that are staying on campus. So for the fall, depending on what that looks like, it could be something similar to what we're doing this summer, or it can be something as a normal quote unquote semester. We're looking at all of the options for making things as safe as possible with the Healthy at Work guidelines for the state of Kentucky, and making sure that we keep you all safe as possible once you get here, providing masks and PPE and sanitizer stations and things like that. We want you all to be as safe as possible, whether you're physically working on campus or staying where you are, and being as safe as you can be there. So if anyone has specific questions about what fall labor looks like, I can do my best to answer them, but right now we just don't have enough information about what fall is going to look like. Jobs would be essential, basically. So there may be some placement that happens that is non-first year placement once campus opens back up, in whatever way it opens back up, much like when the closure happened at the end of spring in March. So there may be some shuffling. So if you have your heart set on a position and campus opens back up, just know that essential areas will be served first. So just like it is right now with some FM areas, dining will be essential when campus opens back up and things like that. So there may be some shuffling involved of jobs, and we appreciate your grace in that process, because sometimes it can get clunky, and the more students you're placing, the more clunkier it can get. But we will take care of you all in every way that we can. If you have very specific questions about your job, your supervisor, or any specific questions, reach out. You can reach out to the labor program email, labor_program@berea.edu. You can reach out to me personally, and if I can't help you, I know who can. So my email is ashb@berea.edu, and I would be happy to help you with any questions I can. Or if you just want some sort of information or just want to talk something through, we're happy to do that as well. You can give our main line a call. It's actually forwarded to my cell phone, so you will get me. When you call that line, that number is 859-985-3611. Happy to answer it. If you can keep it between 8 and 5, that would be great. But it happens, and emergencies happen. So if you all need anything, do not hesitate to reach out.
Brittany, we do have a specific question in terms of with the 2 short terms or short periods that the semester is going to be, is there going to be a change in labor requirements, like the 10 hours a week, the 100 and or the, I forget how many hours per semester?
So the regular requirement is 160. So that is based on a 10-hour per week per the number of weeks that you're enrolled on campus for that term. How many ever weeks you're on campus, you would have an expectation of 10 hours per week. So it will be adjusted based on the number of hours that you're here. And I think it's 14 weeks now. So it will be adjusted accordingly. And once your contract is input into the system, it's going to have a begin date and an end date, and it's going to calculate that requirement for us. It's not going to be something that we're just in there putting in ourselves. So the system will calculate that requirement, but it will be adjusted based on the number of weeks you are on campus.
Thank you, Brittany.
Can I follow up on something? Last spring, when the people left campus, they still were being paid at their contract for those who went home or wherever they went. And the reason you were being paid your contract was because you had started the term already. And under the Department of Education federal rules, we can do that. For the fall, however, if you don't start in a labor position, whether it's remote or here on campus, you will not be getting labor earnings paid to you. Even in the spring, it was I didn't work, but I still got it. yeah, we had guidance. We could do that. But in the fall, if you don't start work, you will not receive any labor earnings. I just want to make sure we don't confuse, oh, here's my grant money and I'm still going to get my labor earnings. That is not true. If you are not in the labor program, you will not be receiving the labor earnings. Your package, your aid package, will look a little bit different, a little bit more grant aid if you're unable to work on campus or remotely. So I just want to be sure you understand that and don't think there's more money coming if you're at home.
When will the second part of the COVID or the CARES Act be released?
Sometime in July. That's all I can say at this point. It's not my decision. I work with other people, and at this point, it is scheduled for sometime in July.
Some families have been affected with layoffs. How will this affect paying term bills in the fall term?
Stephanie, do you want that one? Or I can do it.
Yeah.
You want me to do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we understand that. The Department of Ed understands things are just crazy. And while people are laid off, there is more money in the unemployment benefits currently. Doesn't mean your parent may be getting those benefits, but we can look at, but it'd be more toward the end of the year, perhaps after your family files taxes in next spring or January, February, whenever they file. You could bring in the tax information, complete one of our special circumstances requests, and we could reevaluate your aid for the entire year. So if we don't do it to spring, we can back up and make that effective for fall term. Because things are so, do I say wacky? At this point, maybe some people you haven't even began getting their unemployment benefits, if they're to get any at all. It's going to be hard to estimate through the end of the year. Perhaps the company goes back to work and your parents called back 1st of September. Those things we just don't know. So yes, there could have an impact. We will work with you in the fall term, and then if we need you to update, do a special circumstance form, perhaps in January, February, we can get that done. But yes, we will work with you absolutely.
All right, so I see a question about verification that is very specific, and so we'll direct that towards our verification specialist and make sure that she gets that and can answer that offline personally for that individual. When will we know for certain what our fall term will be?
The date is to be determined. We will work very, very hard to get you all that information as soon as we're able to, but I do not foresee that happening within the next couple weeks, probably middle July. I don't want to make any promises, just because there are so many things that are changing that we also have to make changes to our system so that we can package your aid and make adjustments, and then we have to print those out, send those out to you, or if you haven't signed up for electronic communication, please do so. Contact me for the form and I can send that out to you. We would prefer to communicate with you all via email through the portal so that you all have the latest information as soon as possible instead of having to wait for a mailing. So if you're not sure if you do have it, let me know. But to answer your question, we hope in July, middle of July, we can have updated award letters for all students.
And one thing that's dependent upon is we don't know who's going to be working on campus in the fall or working remotely. So while we'll send those out mid-July or so, doesn't mean it's a final, because that will depend on how the fall term looks and where you are. for your award to be final.
You mentioned summer savings earlier. What exactly is that?
Summer savings is what the college expects you to save for the next academic year to help with your term bill, your books, your supplies. Summer savings come from if you're working over the summer, we expect you to save that $1,000. If you're back home, we would want you to save $1,000 from any summer job you have. Students who see that money kind of in their pockets directly are students who are doing EPG internships. In previous years, this year is a little bit different, but at the end of the summer, they usually receive $1,000 to help with upcoming expenses for the academic year.
Will a charge to a student account impact the grant a student can receive? Should students pay off their term bill as soon as possible?
How to interpret that?
Yeah.
Would you read that again?
Several ways you can.
Will a charge, this is from anonymous attendee, so we can't get clarification from somebody. It says, will a charge on the student account impact the grant a student can receive should students pay off their term bill as soon as possible?
Okay, I'm interpreting that as, do they still owe for summer and you can't get your fall aid, really, you can't confirm until that's paid off. So yes, a student needs to pay off their term bill in whatever term it is, just as soon as they possibly can. Stephanie, do you have a different take on that question?
No, the only other thing I can think about is if the student is expected to receive a credit balance, any pending student account balance has to be paid before they can receive any money that they may expect.
If whoever sent that, if they want to clarify and just send it in the email that it's a clarification, maybe we can get to that before we're done.
Speaking of confirmation, when will that confirmation process for this fall need to be done?
To be determined. Typically, it's the first, within the first week of the term. It's better if you could do it before the actual term starts. There's a window. We've not been given any dates since we're moving up the term to start a week early. We've not been given those dates just yet, but I'm sure they'll be sent out, published, whatever they're normally advertised. I'm sure that will be done again this year when we have that locked in.
All right, we have another question for Brittany. If we have a certain pay grade and we got shuffled into random job, will we keep our pay grade?
So if you're talking about fall, I don't know if I can answer that question right now. If we're operating on an essential basis and we have to put everyone in an essential position, there may be a special pay rate. It would depend on budgeting. It would depend on aid and grants and things that are accessible for us and to us. And so it would be a collaboration between labor and the financial aid office to make sure that we're paying students appropriately if we have to place you all in an essential position or whoever is on campus and working. So it may look like it did for the spring closure, where every student who was physically working on campus was paid the same rate. Or if a student is placed in a position that they wanted to be in and they were already hired for, you would keep the rate you were hired at and had agreed upon with your supervisor. So it's kind of a if-then situation that we can't answer 100% right now. But if we are required to place you in an essential position and you do not have a choice, we will do our best to make sure that you're paid appropriately for the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Next question is the question of the day. What is the probability that Berea College will open?
We're open now, sort of, but We are not on that level to know those things at this point.
That's not on our pay grade.
They don't even know, really. They're still collecting data. I am on Brittany and I are on a couple of logistics, thinking about the fall term. And that's just it. We're thinking and collecting information. A lot depends on testing, what's going on in the state. So even though we may come up with one idea, we as the college, there may be restrictions from the state that won't allow us to do that. And I know you're all in limbo. We're in limbo. We do not know. So we can appreciate the question. We really don't have an answer. Brittany, do you want to say anything?
I would echo that. We don't have an answer right now. We're collecting data, looking at the state guidelines. The state guidelines almost seem like they change daily. But looking at those guidelines, because we can't do something if the state doesn't say we can. So we may have a plan today. We may have 6 plans today. And then by Monday, those plans will need to be scrapped. So there are plenty of fabulous minds that are working on this and figuring it out and putting the puzzle pieces together to do the best that we can to make sure that what is best for everyone, Berea College, the students, staff, and faculty, happens and takes place. And so as quickly as we all want to know, we also want to make sure that the right decision is made. So we're all just trying to practice our patience this summer.
Well, welcome, Collis, Mr. Collis Robinson. We have a question for you. This may be a housing question. It says, if we registered for off-campus housing next semester, would we be getting a refund regardless of if we are coming back to campus or not? Or would all students have to come back to campus in order to get refund for off-campus housing?
I think I know what they're asking, and so I think financial aid will have to help me. So good evening, and glad to be here. I think they're wondering because I know when a student gets off campus, there's a refund where they get refunded for that. So I guess they're wondering, is everybody considered, would they be in the same boat as someone who would be off campus and living in Berea compared to if they're, let's just say, in Atlanta and at home? So I guess they're asking, is that refund going to look the same, different, or what goes into play there? And from a housing standpoint, I can tell you, based on the decision will depend on how many people officially live off with the approval of off campus, if you will. That will come down to the decision that the college makes. So I think that's what they're trying to figure out. And I don't know if that makes a difference or not on the financial aid end.
We don't know at this point. That's still under discussion, because if a student is living at home, they might not have as much housing and meal expense. While we understand there could be some, they may not have as much. So that's something we have to take back to the administrative committee to talk with them.
Okay.
But it's just thinking through at this point.
Yeah.
Collis, any special instructions in terms of on campus, if it's decided that students will be coming back to campus, will students receive an email with what dorms are available? Will it be an application process, those kinds of things?
Yes, I can speak to that. And so housing, actually, we did the room selection period. And so right now we've issued a statement to students letting them know that it's tentative. Like right now, everyone has roommates, and depending on what the college decides, it may be that we're going to give singles. And then in that case, our room selection would have to start over, if you will. So it really depends on the scenario. We are positioned to welcome, if the college decides that everybody comes back, the room selection process that we have done will work. And so if you're on the waiting list, yes, you will have a room. We'll make sure that we get you in a room and squared away, and you would get instructions about what hall and all of those things once we know. And again, if the decision is not that everyone's returning, then we would be looking at doing another process so that we can figure out who's going to be where.
All right, thank you for that information. Do we have to work on campus in the fall? I think we answered that question, but just another quick answer to that question, Teresa?
If you are living on campus in the fall, you will be required to work. If you are living in town, we don't know if the campus will be opened up to let you back on or not. That is to be determined.
Do students get a refund for the summer housing / meals?
Not quite sure.
Oh, excuse me,
Yeah.
on the other part of that question I didn't see. Do students get a refund for the summer / housing, or for summer housing / meals amount indicated on the summer award letter? So,
We would have given grant aid to help with those expenses, as that summer award letter is estimated. If you were, it could look very different, right? If you were only in a 4-week class, we would have packaged your aid only for the 4 weeks. So you would receive grant based on that, given your account balance is paid 100%. You would receive some of that money back via direct deposit.
when can we apply for a loan for the summer? And when can we apply for a loan for the fall?
Okay, a loan for the summer, it would probably be the 1st of August, because we want to see how much labor earnings you've had, how much you've made payment. So I think that would be the one, August 1, let's say August 1. For the fall, again, we're going to have to, if you would please wait until we get the award letters. Hopefully you won't have to apply for a loan. However, if you have an EFC that you are not able, you and or the family are not able to contribute, then yes, you may need to apply for a loan. If that is the case, that could also be August 1 for an EFC replacement. But if it's just bottom line, we're going to have to wait to see how much your bill is going to be and how much aid is going to be given.
If students are working on campus this summer, what will their summer savings have to be?
That will be dependent upon how much they work. I saw where some students were going to be able to work the entire summer, 13 weeks or so, 12 or 13 weeks. Those students would definitely have a requirement of $1,000. Anything less than that would be prorated, and until we see what those amounts are, I can't tell you what the estimate would be.
All right, I heard it earlier, but it looks like we got another question. Stephanie, if you could just touch quickly, briefly on when summer aid will be dispersed. And then Teresa, just to reiterate for somebody that came in late, when the second round of CARES Act will be released.
Okay.
So summer aid for most students is applied students who recently added a course for the 7-week term. If you added yesterday or today, that aid probably has not been applied to your student account. But if you can send me an email, I can look into your account and see why that aid has not been dispersed. I could have very well missed it. So. And then Teresa about that.
Yeah, and for the CARES Act, the second disbursement is planned for July. That's as close as I can give you at this time. We're not the ones to make the decision. We're dependent on some other people. So sometime in July.
So a question about Bonner Scholars and EPG not getting summer grants like other students. What if Bonner Scholars are not getting summer savings from their program since they're not doing a summer of service this year?
If a student is not doing, if a Bonner student is not doing a summer of service, there would not be the $1,000 at the end of the summer that they would receive. Now with EPG and those who are doing a summer of service, they will have at least $1,000 to help with their fall term, which is a grant, and that would supersede any grant we would give, which means if you've already getting that grant, we're not going to give you another $1,000 to replace summer savings. That is your summer savings.
Would there be a summer savings expectation for a Bonner Scholar that is not doing a summer of service?
If they're not connected with the college at all, no, there wouldn't be. For this year only. Let me reiterate, for this year only, because of the job market.
If Berea decides to do online classes and have students not come back to campus, only online classes, will students still be charged the full term bill?
Stephanie, do you want to?
Students will be responsible for their EFC regardless of if we're on campus. It is viewing the family's contribution towards the academic year. While it may be shorter, that expense will still, we still have to account for your full estimated family contribution.
But you wouldn't be charged, if you're at home, you would not be charged for housing and meals.
Right.
That may be what they were.
Here's another question for Collis. If we do single housing, how do we decide who gets to come back and who doesn't?
Again, that decision will be made by the administrative committee. And so basically the college administration will make that decision and we'll be able to kind of go from there.
I took 2 May term courses. My account summary for summer shows that I owe $14,000. I'm not expected to pay that, right? What should I do to make that go away?
Please send me an email, Stephanie Blaney. I can get that taken care of tomorrow.
We try to check that. We just are not through the list yet.
All right, well, that appears to be all of our questions for this evening. So we will keep that Q&A open for just a little bit longer and just see if either Brittany or Collis want to have any closing remarks while we're waiting for others to ask their last questions.
Sure. Let's see if I can start my video, or will it, or maybe not. Okay, it's fine. Just from the housing standpoint, I was going to note, and I don't know who is all on tonight, but we are asking students, because of the uncertainty, to please do not enter a lease. If you think that you're going to be off campus through housing, you need to wait till we confirm that. And so do not enter any leases or make assumptions about the fall. As many of us have echoed, it's an unprecedented time. None of us have experienced it, so we're asking for grace and patience, even with housing. And if you're on the wait list again, or if you went through the process, do know we're going to take care of you and figure it out, so don't worry. But we do have to have some decisions before we make final confirmation on things. So I'll just caution everybody again, don't enter leases or don't start to make too many solid plans for fall yet until we know. And then the only other piece I'll note, and more will come, but we should expect housing and campus life and all of those things to be different with COVID. Like right now, everybody on campus is required to wear a mask when we're out and about on our campus. So that's just one thing to note, which you've seen those in President Ruloff's updates anyway. But it's just something to note and think about as we look to the fall.
All right, thank you. Brittany?
I would echo what Carla said about, when we know, you guys will know, and we'll do our best to take care of you along the way, whatever that looks like. So for the fall, we hope everyone can come back. We hope to see you all. We miss you all, like you all miss campus. But we will make sure that you're as safe as possible. We do have, PPE on campus. We have things that will keep you all safe. Your position may look a little different. You may have a piece of plexiglass in front of you if you work at a service station or a service desk area. So just keep that in mind. So when you come back to campus, it looks a little different. That may happen, but we're working on those kind of guidelines right now, no matter what, because unfortunately the future may look different forever after this. So to make sure everyone's safe and taken care of. The processes of turning in forms may look a little different. It may be digital rather than in person in the fall. So keep that in mind as well. But we really want to see you all. We miss you guys, and so campus is not the same without you all. They're helping it run, and we are greatly appreciative of everything that you've done for campus, because Berea does not work unless you all are here helping us operate. So if you all have specific questions, do not hesitate to reach out. If you have something, even you want me to reiterate again, and so you can have it in writing and you can reference it, please reach out, labor_program@berea.edu. My email, ashb@berea.edu, or our direct line if you would like a call, 859-985-3611. We'll be happy to take care of you. And we hope we see you all soon, but just be looking for guidance from our office. No matter what situation we're looking at for fall, we will provide you with plenty of information along the way to get you prepared for whatever that looks like.
All right, thank you, Brittany. All right, we have one last question, and while I'm popping that question up here, I'm going to see if I can get our email address back. All right, the question is, which is more accurate? My account balance or my award letter for summer?
Your student account balance will be the most accurate. As mentioned earlier, the summer award letter is an estimate at the time that your aid was packaged, if that was May 25th or May 5th, and that could look very different today. So your student account is probably your best bet.
All right, thank you so much. So with that, as being the last question, again, we have, I've popped up there our email address. So if you need to get a hold of us in Student Financial Aid Services, you can reach us at that finaid@berea.edu email address. And so I will ask both Stephanie and Teresa if you have any parting words for this evening.
I would say please stay safe and well, and we do hope to see you in the fall or maybe the spring at the latest. Good luck.
For me, I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. We do miss you all here on campus. We miss our old normal, which won't be so normal moving forward, but we look forward to continue working with you all. And we really, really do appreciate you all's patience with our office as we are trying to apply aid, respond to your emails. It is a challenge for us all, but we do appreciate you all being patient with us. Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody, and have a great evening. Good night.